There was a time when ideas felt important. Not every idea, but the good ones. The promising ones. The ones that felt like they might lead somewhere. When an idea arrived, it carried a sense of responsibility. Should I write this down? Should I act on it? Should I make sure I don't lose it? Ideas felt like opportunities, and losing one felt like a mistake. But lately, that urgency has softened. This episode is about what it's like when ideas come and go freely, without needing to be held, followed, or turned into something. Ideas still appear. Thoughts still form. Possibilities still flicker. But they no longer ask for ownership. At first, this can feel unsettling. If you've lived with the belief that ideas are scarce or valuable, letting them pass can feel careless. You may worry that you're wasting something important or missing your chance. But nothing essential is being lost. What's disappearing is the belief that ideas must be secured. When ideas come and go freely, they stop being treated as instructions. They're no longer telling you what to do or who to become. They're simply movements of thought. An idea arises. You notice it, and then it leaves. Nothing follows. This doesn't mean creativity has stopped. In fact, creativity often becomes more fluid here. Ideas don't get stuck in evaluation. They don't pile up waiting for action. They move through and make space for the next moment. You may notice this in ordinary situations. A thought about doing something later appears. A possibility crosses your mind. A solution flashes briefly. You don't need to capture it. You don't need to develop it. If it matters, it will return. If it doesn't, nothing is lost. This can feel deeply relieving. You're no longer burdened with managing your inner landscape. You don't need to archive thoughts or worry about forgetting something important. Your mind becomes a place where ideas pass through, not a place where they accumulate. This episode isn't about dismissing ideas or becoming passive. You still act when action is needed. You still follow through when something clearly calls for it. But action no longer comes from urgency. It comes from resonance. When an idea returns again and again, not because you're holding on to it, but because it keeps reappearing, you may act on it naturally. And when it doesn't return, there's no sense of loss. This changes how you relate to creativity and problem solving. You're not forcing solutions. You're not mining your mind for answers. You're allowing ideas to surface and sink on their own. This can make thinking feel quieter. You're not scanning constantly. You're not watching for inspiration. You're simply available. There's trust here. Not trust that every idea will be saved, but trust that what's needed will show up when it's needed. This trust isn't philosophical. It's practical. You've likely already noticed moments when the right idea appeared at the right time without effort. You didn't plan it. You didn't remember it intentionally. It just arrived. This episode recognizes that those moments aren't exceptions. They're how thinking works when it isn't being managed. You may also notice that anxiety around productivity softens here. When ideas aren't treated as tasks, there's less pressure to keep generating or improving. You don't need to stay inspired. You don't need to stay creative. You don't need to be on. Ideas don't depend on effort. They come when they come. This can change how you relate to boredom too. When ideas aren't being chased, boredom doesn't feel like a block. It feels like space. Space where nothing needs to happen. And sometimes, ideas pass through that space quietly, without fanfare. You don't need to grab them. This episode isn't about stopping thought. Thought continues. It's about removing the belief that thought needs to be useful. Ideas don't need to lead anywhere. They don't need to become something. They can appear and disappear without consequence. This can feel like a kind of mental freedom. Your inner life becomes lighter, less cluttered, less demanding. You're not carrying a backlog of unrealized ideas. You're not haunted by what you didn't do. You're present with what's here. You may notice that this also changes how you listen to others. When someone shares an idea, you don't immediately evaluate it. You don't compare it to your own. You let it be. You're not competing. You're not collecting. You're just listening. This season isn't about becoming empty or blank. It's about letting the mind function naturally, without turning every movement into obligation. Ideas are part of life. So is letting them go. If you're listening to this and noticing that ideas don't grip you the way they used to, that you're less worried about missing something, you're not becoming dull. You're becoming available. Available for what actually needs to happen. If these reflections feel like something you can return to, you're welcome to stay. Liking the video helps it reach others who may feel pressured to capture every thought. And if you want to keep a steady space like this available, you can subscribe, not for inspiration, but for companionship. If someone you care about seems less attached to ideas lately, less driven by possibility, you're welcome to share this with them, only if it feels right. Ideas don't need to be held to be useful. They can come, they can go, and life continues.